Very good, yeah, just got back from the US yesterday.
Are we live streaming? Are we live streaming from the beginning? Take a seat, take a seat. Welcome, welcome. Take a seat. Grab a pew. Very bright light, right in my eyes. The one of our favorite sayings in Vivobarefoot that we use over and over again is, at the end of all our exploring, we come back to the beginning and we know the place for the very first time. And this place was the very beginning of Vivobarefoot. We launched Vivobarefoot as a standalone brand in this venue, and there's a couple of people here that were there that day more than 10 years ago. And so it's very special and auspicious that we come back sort of more or less on our 10-year anniversary to this place. And it's no coincidence at all that it's also 5 minutes walk from Adam, who organized it and lives right around the corner. So I thought we should just actually recognize those people that were here. Who was here at the first Vivo conference 10 years ago, right? Dale, Camille, Lucy, Gary, Anna, Damien, Ben must have been here. Ben's still on the loo. Asher, Lucy. So welcome back to where it all began. It's, and I think there were probably 20 people then, which is exciting to see, obviously, how Vivo has grown up since then. And we are also, for your information, being live streamed around the world. So this conference this morning, I think just this morning's part is going out to our whole community. So, if you would like to say hello to anyone, then, the camera's here and there. So say hi to your parents and siblings and whoever's watching. So we're also, this is obviously the winter solstice, and we hold these events 4 times a year. I've been told under some duress that we're going to name these gatherings as Vivo Connect. So this is the Vivo Connect Winter Solstice. And obviously we'll gather again in March. And I hope that in March will also be the first time we gather it at our own nature home. So that is something to look forward to and exciting. I also want to introduce one other special person who's here today, who's taken over as the EMEA commercial lead, who is Andrew Kiernan. Take a stand. So this really is his conference in many ways. So if anything goes wrong, it's all Andrew's fault. And so, are you happy with how things are going so far? He's about 2 or 3 days into the job, so, forgive him if things don't go perfectly. And James, I'm also excited to tell you that James is going to move into a product role and lead the outdoor product area. So it's exciting that we will carry on in that way. So we also have some new distributors in the house. And I think maybe it's better if Cedric and James introduce these guys, because they know better than me. I'll be also meeting them for the first time here.
Stand up. There you go.
Korea in the house.
All right.
I did actually visit them not long ago.
And then we have Armando from Paraguay that has joined us as well. There we go.
Welcome.
We do have a couple others in Argentina and Peru that are watching right now. that will be joining us couldn't make it a little bit last minute. But here are the ones for APAC and South America.
And we'd like to also welcome Bernard. Bernard, you here? So Bernard's our new distributor for Spain, Portugal and Andorra.
Welcome. Okay, so look, I'm just going to, won't trouble you for too long, but just, you know, like I do most times, just remind us of where we are and where we're going. I apologize, I rail against everybody in Vivo whenever they put a slide up with lots of small writing, and so, you know, do as I tell you, not as I do-y. I don't expect you to read this at all. This is an ongoing one-year strategic rolling plan of Vivo. It's Vivo on one page, and we always organize it with the background is our vision and values articulated, and really these never change. They've never really changed for 10 years. I think they're almost exactly as we had them 10 years ago, with slightly, you know, upgraded articulations here and there. The vision, the values, the middle ground is how we sort of manage the business in the medium term. The key KPIs we look at, they're financial and non-financial KPIs. And broadly speaking, we organize it around regenerative business, regenerative product, and regenerative community. And then in the foreground are the things we sort of update every year as short-term strategic priorities. And maybe I'll just quickly remind you all, because I know of what they are, and we're going to unpack these tomorrow morning in much greater detail at the company day, so I won't go into every single one of them. But the things we're particularly working on this year is the My Vivo digital journey, and we've had an exciting time in the last month or so regards to this, because our website basically crashed in October. It was like all our warehouses and personal homes and pubs all sort of burning on fire for a couple of weeks at one point. We recovered the situation amazingly. The tech teams worked literally day and night to recover it. So it's slightly delayed, and my Vivo digital journey is all about creating this omni-channel digital customer journey that's online and offline, but weaves together all the component parts of Vivo. So all the categories that will be presented today, but then Vivo, as Vivo Biome comes online and joins the customer journey, Vivo Health and all the digital education woven into it, and then also then linking to the offline experiences. And so this is a huge prerogative of our next challenge and a huge area of investment. We've also got a very important person here who is our new CTO. We don't actually use the word CTO because there are no chiefs in Vivo, but our new technology lead, as the internal title is, Sophia, and I think Sophia should stand up because Sophia started, when did you start? Like, it feels like about 6 months ago, but it was actually about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But she was supposed to start on Friday, I think, and then or on Wednesday or something. And the Friday before, she worked sort of, 4 days before her official start date, almost 20 hours every day for 4 days, like immediately jumping on to help us rescue the website issue. And she's now like, I'm desperately trying to keep her to her 90 days intro period before she jumps on and really leads us on the My Vivo digital journey. And it's a huge area of focus to bring that together, because ultimately what Vivo is all about is taking people on multi-year transformational natural health journeys. And we like to think when people start wearing Vivo, start engaging with the brand, they start connecting more with nature, they start thinking more about how to connect more with nature, they go out and ripple that effect across their communities and their families, and they end up as healthier, happier humans, and that is ultimately our reason for being. The other big focus this year, and we've just had a very heated conversation about this actually this morning, so Asha, myself and Robert were shouting at each other this morning and all came down to join you in a rather grumpy mood, but is around the circular value chain. And we are really dedicated to figuring out how to make natural, biodegradable, circular shoes from nature, return to nature, but also circular from a poly point of view, and being able to take existing waste and plastics, chemically recycle them back to the same grade plastics to be able to make new shoes, the same quality polymers from existing polymers. We are in many ways at the beginning of that journey. We were arguing about how much more to invest in that journey this morning. John was refereeing a heated discussion, but it's something we feel passionately about. Like, there's basically the desire to invest beyond our means to try and solve this. So, you know, I can assure you we're taking it very seriously and doing a lot, and there's a lot of teams working on it. The value of Vivo is another big one for us, is like how the one big thing we get feedback on is that, you know, from our customers is value for money, basically. And as we know, we're a premium brand, the prices are not low. So we have a big group working on really every single touch point of the customer journey to sort of premiumize it and make the customer really feel the value of those higher prices. It's obviously linked to all the work we're doing to make the shoes more sustainable at every stage of the way. And it's an exciting project to sort of continue to be able to make expensive, but expensive because they're worth it products on all of these regenerative principles. And then finally, and you know, really the big reason for these events and Vivo Connect is we live in a hybrid world now. I'm meeting a lot of people that work at Vivo for the first time today and tomorrow. We're scattered all over the place, and so figuring out how we operate as a sort of beehive that is scattered all over the world, because not everybody even lives in England that works at Vivo. Is a big challenge for us, and we are doing lots of things to try and keep everyone together, keep the networked, and that is we're learning as we go there. But it's, you know, it's a big challenge. But we will be celebrating each other's company this evening with a wider stakeholder network, and we look forward to, you know, an amazing couple of days with you all. So I think it's probably enough from me. I mean, I just, you know, we just published Unfinished Business, and the major marketing campaign at the moment is all around Unfinished Business. Unfinished Business is our annual report. And, you know, one of the things, obviously the reason we call it Unfinished Business is in terms of actually making truly regenerative footwear. You know, this is a never-ending challenge, and we're probably 1% of the way to where we want to get to make truly regenerative circular footwear and experiences. And so it will, you know, probably as long as I live, be unfinished business. So we just have to embrace the failures. And look, I'm very anti-name dropping, but I will drop a name right now that I had lunch with the CEO of Patagonia on Monday in Ventura. And we really connected on this, and he spoke a lot about how Patagonia also sort of embraces this idea of constantly failing. And he gave a couple of examples. He said, look, 30 years ago, Patagonia launched organic cotton kind of in the clothing industry in a way, or like tried to really push it out there. And 30 years ago, organic cotton was less than 1% of the global organic cotton production. And 30 years later, organic cotton is still less than 1% of global organic cotton production. And, you know, it's extremely depressing and challenging for them. And, you know, in many ways, like, you know, this important work is just beginning, and it's just, you know, there's not enough Patagonias in the world. And, you know, obviously one of our missions is to scale as a business and stay independent in the same way Patagonia did, and take on these big regenerative missions that the world and industry so badly needs. The other one that they tried to do was the Higgs Index, a sustainable apparel coalition that they launched with Walmart, and the goal was by now to have scorecards and ingredients labels on every piece of clothing in the market, and then the consumer could easily see which were the most sustainable and which were not, and judge value to that. Obviously, that still hasn't happened, but you know, they're trying, they're sticking at it, they're working at it, and you know, we're excited to be working closely with companies like that to set the bar and be part of continually raising the bar. But we have a long way to go and many failures ahead of us. I won't go into any of these because you can read them, they're all in the annual report. And finally, look, you know, we do need to celebrate. We are here to celebrate. No champagne without pain. We are the pain in champagne. But you know, we will, you know, it's been our best year ever. This year will again be our best year ever. This is going to be our best sales conference ever. So, you know, celebrate that. It's fantastic. The teams have done an amazing job. You know, Adam, if you want a sort of a tour of the area, Adam can give you a tour of the area. He brought us all here today. When's your baby due? Like, oh, okay. I thought it was in December for some reason. All right. So look, welcome. Have an amazing couple of days. Enjoy the journey. And I think I'm handing over to Caroline, who is one of our fantastic failures. Is that the women's mix? It is. One of our fantastic failures is that the women's mix has slightly decreased over the last year, or over the last 2 years, actually, last even 5 years. The women's mix of our business has slowly gone down. So Caroline is here to lead the charge on trying to reverse that trend and make it a champagne moment.
I'm not taking the mic. I've got the mic. Hi everyone. Oh, yeah. So for those who don't know me, my name is Caroline and I head up the lifestyle marketing here at Vivobarefoot. So I think a lot of you will be familiar with Shoespiracy. If you haven't already seen it, definitely go and check it out. For those of you who haven't seen it, essentially it's our take on a Cowspiracy style documentary, but we're taking aim at Big Shoe and the footwear industry. So this time it's women's Shoespiracy and we're revisiting it through the lens of women's footwear. I'm delighted to introduce Becky Hutner, who is going to be our director for Women's Shoespiracy. We're genuinely so thrilled to be working with you, Becky. Becky is a BIFA and Emmy-nominated filmmaker who's screened at Cannes, Toronto, and Tribeca film festivals. And you can find her work on the big platforms from Netflix to Amazon Prime. Everyone, give a really warm welcome to Becky.
Thank you, guys. I'm just going to put them down here. Yeah, it's amazing to be here. Guys, thank you so much. I met some of you at the last retreat in Bantam, where we were all crawling around in a circle on our hands and knees, chasing each other like angry cats, which was an excellent icebreaker for me because I knew absolutely not a soul going into that retreat. So thank you for that experience. And I think I came on Vivo's radar because of a film I made called Fashion Reimagined. And Fashion Reimagined is a feature documentary about the environmental impact of the fashion industry. It follows a designer, Amy Powney, that's her, from the brand Mother of Pearl, on this mission to create a sustainable collection from farm to closet, which sounds easy and maybe a bit boring, but actually because of the complexity and the global nature and the opacity of the fashion industry, it turns into this wild caper that takes Amy all around the world, knocking on doors, trying to find out how her clothes are made. And what emerges over the course of the film is the scale and complexity and urgency of fashion's impact on people and on the planet. So this film was a labor of love for me. It took 5 years to make. And so it's amazing that it is out in the world now, and it's been so well received. We premiered at Tribeca Film Festival last June. We've gone on to play at 70 film festivals around the world. We've even won some awards, which is awesome. And if you want to see the full film, you can watch it on Sky or Now TV. But for now, we have a trailer for you guys. So here's the trailer.
I feel very separate from the fashion scene. I don't know, I never felt like I fit in. We all kind of sped up too fast in this generation. We produce 100 billion items of clothing every year. More collections, more goals, and 3 out of 5 of them end up in landfill. The chemicals, the quantity, the pollution, the carbon emissions. It's complete nonsense. I grew up in a caravan with no water, electricity or heating.
And a lot of people that are involved in the fashion scene didn't grow up like that. It's like it's a completely different world. Everything I've done is like a fight, every single step.
My mission is to create a collection that's completely sustainable. It's organic, traceable, uses minimal chemicals, and it's produced in the smallest geographic region.
Can we even do this? We're the first designers to turn up at the wool farm and say, I want to buy your wool. It doesn't work like that. The system doesn't work like that.
And it's crazy. Is there a chance to make things better? I have faith, but I also have doubts in it.
We have to row at the same time in the same direction.
We need to reinvent the fashion industry.
If people don't care about it too, perhaps my time in fashion will be over.
Why is anyone letting them in? They're not ready. This is the path like I was supposed to be on. This is what I was always supposed to do.
Thanks, guys. So that's Fashion Reimagined, and some of the team at Vivo saw the film and thought that I might be a good fit for a film project that they were planning, which is tentatively titled The Emancipation of Women's Feet. Caroline mentioned the original Shoespiracy, which many of you, I believe, have seen. And there was a feeling on the team that there was a need for a women's focused shoespiracy in light of research that foot problems, including foot problems requiring surgery, disproportionately affect women. And the main culprit for these issues are women's shoes. And actually, if you look deeper, there's a whole history of oppression through women's clothing. And Chinese foot binding, and then all the way up to present day where, you know, heels and handbags are still impacting women's health. So, yeah, it was decided that there was some really rich material here to make a film, and I completely agree. And I think there's some really nice alignment between this project and Fashion Reimagined, because both are looking at, you know, something that we might take for granted, which is women's clothing, digging deeper, and then unearthing these issues that once they come to the surface, you can never unsee them. And that's common feedback that we get from Fashion Reimagined is like, I'll never be able to look at my clothes the same way again. And that would be my ultimate goal for this film. It's certainly what I felt when I watched the original Shoespiracy. You know, even though I'm very passionate about movement and health and environmental issues, I have not given my feet that much thought, I'm sad to say, nor have I thought that deeply about, you know, the gender equality conversation through the lens of clothing. And now that veil has been lifted and I can't put it back, and now I genuinely think about my feet every day. And have been incorporating different things into my own like movement routines and self-care routines. I'm proudly wearing, for the as of today, this is my first day wearing a pair of Vivo shoes, and they're super comfortable. And also, you know, I've had that experience where you learn about something and then you start hearing it everywhere. So once I was briefed by the Vivo team about the concept and the issues, I started talking about it with my friends and family, and all of these stories started to come out from the women in my life. So, for example, my mom revealed that her scoliosis is from wearing a heavy handbag on one side for years and years. She has bunions and flat feet from working in heels for like 30 plus years as a flight attendant. And then I have another family friend who's been in bed for 7 weeks after a major surgery on her feet where she had plates put in the bottom of her feet. Lifelong wearer of heels, although she denies that is the cause, and I'm not going to push it. But it's just like, it really gives me extra confidence that there is a big audience for this film. So I envisioned starting the film with a montage of cool imagery around the history of female oppression through clothing. The whalebone corsets that I mentioned, which restricted breathing and caused fainting and compressed organs, to the Chinese foot binding, in which young girls had their arches broken to restrict the growth of feet and keep them dainty and aesthetically appealing, which would cause lifelong pain. These women wouldn't be able to walk unassisted. It kept them at home. And then and there's many, many more examples of this type of clothing, all the way up to present day with the heels and handbags and just women's shoes in general. And then peppered throughout the film, we'll have stats like this one. So women are 9 times more likely to have foot problems than men. So this is the sexy part of the presentation where I run through different foot problems. Things like bunions, which are like lumpy bone, like, I don't know, bony bits that form on the side of the foot and push the big toe into the rest of the toes, causing a lot of pain, restricting mobility, potentially leading to surgery. Neuromas, which are an inflammation of the nerve leading to the toes, also painful, also restricts mobility and can lead to surgery. Hammer toes, I'm not sure, we were talking about this, I'm not sure why it should be claw toes, where toes are like bent down permanently, and this is also very painful, can limit mobility and lead to surgery. So why is this happening? 75% of foot problems requiring surgery are caused by women's footwear, which is really, really crazy. Some of the main issues are that women's shoes are often too narrow, so it's compressing the feet, and then they're especially too narrow in the toe area, and particularly if it's a pointy toe. So the toes are getting crowded and compressed and leading to things like bunions, hammer toe, etc. Also, heels impact stability, increasing risk of injury. So yeah, it's really striking thinking about gender equality through this lens, and to think that our clothing plays a role and has played a role throughout history in causing pain in women and impacting women's health, restricting their movement, you know, controlling how they move, where they can go, all the way up to, you know, inevitably inhibiting their full potential and their ability to interact with the wider world. So yeah, I mean, all of this information is super interesting, and I love kind of the research aspect of filmmaking. but I also like to find the human stories behind the issues. And so the idea is to feature 4 women, and we have yet to cast these women, but broadly they would be a doctor, so someone like a holistic podiatrist, an academic, an athlete, and this could be, you know, a gymnast or a martial artist who also has a long-time relationship with their feet, or it could be someone like a runner who's transitioning into barefoot running. And then an Indigenous activist. Of course, Indigenous people are the OG shoemakers, and so there is a lot of wisdom in Indigenous communities in terms of best practices for footwear when it comes to human health, and best practices for caring for your feet. And the idea is that each of these women will have a personal relationship to the issues that I've just presented. And we will find out what those stories are exactly. But for example, I imagine that a holistic podiatrist would have a reason why she went into that line of work, and there would be a story there about the evolution of her relationship with her feet. So hopefully, through the stories of these women, we will organically learn a lot of this information. And then by the end of the film, I want this feeling that these women have been emancipated through their feet, or at least on their way. And then this will be bolstered by the feeling that a movement is building. So perhaps ending on a montage of stats and social media content and inspiring examples of women, more and more women who are embracing different health modalities, who are paying more attention to their feet. We'll include stats like there are 22.3 billion views on TikTok for self-care content, and 47 million views for barefooting on TikTok. There are top health influencers now posting about their feet journeys on social media. And I want to just end with this feeling that women are finally breaking free from the shackles of their oppressive clothing and unlocking their full potential and reconnecting with the world around them. And then we'll end with a CTA, which is a work in progress, but presently reconnect to your natural potential, reconnect to nature. The future is at your feet. So that's the film idea. And then in terms of how it will be launched, so going back to Fashion Reimagined, alongside launching the film in a traditional way, which was, you know, playing in cinemas and on streamers, etc., we had an impact campaign, which is still running. And that's all about getting the film in front of the people that most need to see it, so you have the best possible chance of changing hearts and minds. So we've done a lot of screenings for governments, for schools, for fashion brands, for community groups. And so I want to take a lot of that experience and apply it here. So some ideas that I have are to screen it at London Fashion Week. So we opened London Fashion Week last February with Fashion Reimagined to a packed room of editors and industry people. It was hugely successful, and we got a lot of press off of it. And I know London Fashion Week loves to do film screenings, and I have a good relationship with them, so I think that's a good way to go. Graduate Fashion Week is like the fashion week for graduating fashion students across the UK, and they all have their own runway shows, these students. That happens every June, and I think it would be really cool to screen there to all of these design students who are about to enter the industry. Environmental and design-focused film festivals, music and wellness festivals are great places to spread the message. And we're about to do, with Fashion Reimagined, a university screening tour. So traveling to different universities across the country and screening for fashion courses who have actually integrated the film into their curriculum in different ways or are doing kind of projects related to the film. We're doing fashion students, but the reach of this film is way, way bigger. It's not just fashion. It's everything from like exercise science to physiotherapy to even gender studies. So there's a lot of different groups that I think could benefit from this film. So yeah, and then we just want to get the film seen by as many people as possible. And yeah, I'm really excited for the journey to start.
Hello, is that working? Cool. Hi, I know most people here. I was here nearly 10 years ago, so feels familiar. I'm Lucy. I head up the go-to-market for Vivo for adults, alongside Heather for kids as well. And before I jump into this first, it should be first slide, I wanted to give a bit of a debrief over, one, what go-to-market is and the role it plays in Vivo, because you'll see a consistent thread kind of running through these slides with how go-to-market applies. But also, I'm sort of self-appointed customer boffin, if you will. So I want to take you through the new customer segmentation work that we've been doing, because again, you'll see that thread running through, and come and find me later, and happy to talk to you about Vivo customers all day if you want. So the first thing about bringing product to market, appreciate this a bit text heavy, but it's me. What we're conscious of, and what you'll see here through both new launches and kind of the whole product range, hopefully, is before we bring any product to market, we need to identify who the target audience is, where we're positioning the product and the pricing. That's kind of the core of it. But then secondly, how does that product actually align to the perceived value of Vivo that we spoke about earlier, so the value of our products and how we communicate that over to customers. That will come through distribution, so partners here, where we place the product, our marketing, our overall sales strategy, customer support, super important, so how we educate customers on the products that we've got, and also then how we measure the success of those. So we're trying to sort of this to be a golden thread that goes through absolutely everything we do, rather than retrofitting it later. So rather than bringing product to market and then trying to figure out all of these points, is having it as a starting point of everything that we do. Last conference, about 3 months ago, we spoke about customer segments. So we'd kicked off a huge study about 3 months ago or so now, which enabled us through both immersions, quantitative research, qualitative research of customers to identify under the overarching umbrella of the conscious maverick. So the conscious maverick is the Vivo customer. This is who we identify. So they're an open-minded and creative community who challenge the status quo and seek to live naturally and believe in a powerful connection between their own health and the planet's. That's who we identify in everything that we do. That then splits out into these 6 segments. So at the top, we've got the lead segments, and then at the bottom are the supporting ones. Now, Vivo pillars of rewild, regenerate, and reclaim all sit within inside these. So active outsiders, and I won't spend too long on this, are our outdoor entry-level product customers, but they're kind of the peak of the performance that they're doing. Natural health heroes are those peak lifestyle, active lifestyle customers, and the performance pioneers are those key partners that we're working with or customers within the performance section, and then they're supported underneath. So now what we can do is we can identify the entry product that we think that we can target them with, the top product that they're likely to buy, what the motives are to them buying, what the triggers are that help them to buy, and what the barriers are to entry. So you'll see this running through all the presentations, and we'll go through this in more detail on one-to-ones, absolutely fine. But in theory, we'll now be able to select a product, good kids, and say, which segment does this fall into, or who are we designing it for, how do we speak to them, what does the marketing do for that customer, what do they identify with, and what are their core drivers to buying. So everything becomes far more personalised, and we can roll this out on kind of a more global scale. So I'll jump into the first product, which Caroline's going to come and present, and we'll do a far better job at running through the exciting marketing than me. But what does this look like? So the first product, if I just go back here, was the new Goby Hiber, which we're about to run through. Now, the challenge with this product, as we've spoken to about women's wear, is we know that from the customer that we've selected here, the natural health heroes, that nearly 40% of them, the barrier for them to purchase Vivo is style.
and design. So what we need to do is find a product that not only looks good, but meets the performance requirements that we're creating it for that environment to be used in. So we're effectively taking what is now our best-selling winter boot in lifestyle, but we're making it better. We're making it more winterized, and we need to be conscious that when we do that, that style becomes a driver for 40% of those customers. If it's the largest barrier to entry, photography, how we shoot it, who we put in the product, where we sell it, then becomes super important. And we're also conscious that there's a lot of other outdoor brands in particular that are moving into this space. So your likes of North Face have sort of this padded winter boot, but they're creating it for a different purpose than us, and we believe that we've got the end customer in mind. And then in terms of the commercials for this, so this boot is going to make up 20% of our total lifestyle boot offering. It's being bought for the autumn season, and it will be 8% of the lifestyle category mix overall. So this just gives you a little bit of an idea of where we're forecasting this product to actually sit in the range and how successful we think it's going to be alongside its counterparts. And also just one thing to highlight, which is nice to hear based on what Galahad was saying earlier with the women's mix dropping down, is the Goby style, the new Goby boot, has lifted our women's lifestyle performance this current autumn to 44%. So where we were sitting last time at about, I think, the highest we've ever been is about 45%, and that was in 18-19. It then dropped down. US, unfortunately, dropped below 20% at one point. Women's lifestyle is now making up 44%. So with the new creation of the boots, with the new designs, with how we're focusing these products, we're now hitting a far higher women's mix in lifestyle than we ever have done before. Now this boot, which we're about to see, will be across men's and women's, but it's going to have a particular women's focus. And I will hand over to Caroline to take us through the exciting campaign.
Hi again, everyone. Okay, so for the Goby Hiber, the original brief is puffer jacket in footwear form. And if we think about why women love a puffer jacket, I think it's because it ticks all the boxes. It's warm, it's versatile, and you don't have to choose between looking good or being warm and it being practical. I think it's also why women love a jumpsuit, a perfect fitting pair of jeans, Birkenstocks, dare I say it, that Uniqlo crossbody bag that literally everyone is wearing this year. They're just those items that once you've got them in your wardrobe, you can't really imagine how you ever live without them. And so for us, I think the Goby Hiber is that product. It's warm. It's faux shirring lined all the way down to the toes. It's water resistant, so you don't need to worry about getting it wet if it's snowy or rainy outside. It's pull on. I think this is one of the best features. You don't even need to tie up the laces. You just chuck them on and go. It's super comfortable, and naturally it's barefoot. And yeah, we think it looks really good. So let's take a look at it. There you have it, the Goby Hiber. Big shout out to Katie O'Brien, Katie Rose and Chelsea for their help with their creative. I think it looks great. So in terms of the launch of the Goby Hiber, this will be the hero of our lifestyle winter boot campaign, which will be launching in September. It will be a cross-channel full campaign. And we'll have these still life assets that I've shared with you today, and we'll also have plenty of amazing on-body assets. I think the styling is going to be really key, as Lucy said, to kind of taking lifestyle in a bit of a new direction and nailing it with this new customer. And finally, getting boots on really influential feet to make sure that we are converting those people that feel that style is a problem, because we feel like this product is the product to do it with. So there we go. I'm handing over to Amy to take you through the rest of the lifestyle boot collection.
Thanks, Caroline. Caroline. Hi everybody, my name is Amy, and as Caroline and Lucy have spoken to, style and functionality was really the sharp point for us here when we were putting together this collection. And when we look at the Goby Hiber and we think about the products that we use every day and the products that are most successful, I think it's all about products that are supremely functional and practical, but really look beautiful at the same time. We all have a choice when it comes to the phone that we use, and we could use something that's pretty ugly but very practical, but we've probably all got a really beautiful iPhone in our pocket, and there's a reason for that. So we know that our customer is really looking for style. Yes, functionality is great, but the natural health hero wants something that looks beautiful every day as well. So let's take a look at the product. Caroline, would you be my glamorous assistant? So the first thing you can see is that we're on the Goby tooling, and this is a really important franchise for us. So you can see the clear design lines, and you can see this throughout the collection on the walls. So we want this product to look distinctly Vivo. This is something that we're really striving for within the footwear circle. We want it to be recognizable. So as Caroline said, and she's got the two additional colorways here in the tan and the limestone, you can see the kind of puffer jacket aesthetic, which is not only giving you that extra warmth coming through in the upper, on the lateral and medial, but is also just giving that beautiful, sleek aesthetic that really is that kind of puffer jacket for feet. When it comes to the shearling, a lot of brands you'll find they're kind of cheap on this, and they will only line the collar, or they'll go just down here, but we've fully lined it, so this is fully faux shearling lined, which means that you're just getting that beautiful warmth all the way throughout the shoe. In addition, we have a thermal insole, which means that your foot isn't going to overheat, which can be the case with some of these more winterized products. The regulation of temperature is always going to be there. And as Caroline said, we've got these amazing toggled laces, which means that we have that easy on off. That was a key insight from much of our customer groups with our females, was that just that easy on off with that pulley is really what they're looking for. So 3 colorways for the launch. You can see that this black with the fleck laces is going to be your volume driver, calling out the branding here on the tongue and to the heel part. And then we've got the colors light tan, which merchandises beautifully with the rest of the collection, and our limestone on gum, which is kind of like our take on a white, a natural white. So 3 colors to launch the Goby Hiber, which we're really, really excited about. It is a unisex sizing, but we know that this is going to be a really great play for our female customer. So really excited about that. So I'm going to take you through the rest of the Goby boots and the winter boots to complement. The Goby boot, which is in full leather, has had an amazing launch. You'll see a lot of these on feet and a lot of them in Vivo World. What's amazing about the design on this is you almost have this optical illusion on the toe down, so it's really making it sleeker, it's making it much more slim when you look down, and that is something that we know that women do look for in their footwear. They don't want the foot to look too wide. So that's the first thing to call out. You have a full lace on this with your hardware coming through with the hooks to the top. Again, we have the pulley for on-off. Really beautiful soft leather here. We have this standalone black, which is unlined. As kind of your statement colorway in the Goby boot. And then we've decided to winterize, so we have, you take that one for me. We have additional options which are for those cooler climes, and this is the Goby boot winterized. So here in a beautiful soft tumbled leather, which is burnished to give that really gorgeous patina to the leather. You can see this is on the gum sole in the light tan. Again, fully shearling lined. Again, it has that thermal regulating insole and the branding on the deboss here to the tongue. And then we have this really beautiful cinnamon that Caroline is holding, which is in the oily leather. Again, get your hands on these, they're just beautiful. Again, as Galahad spoke to, there's premium finishings using the best leathers that we can and the most beautiful finish to this product so that it looks and feels absolutely amazing. Again, unisex sizing on those, so we have the light tan and the cinnamon in the winterized. The Goby Chelsea is the final option to take you through in this collection. So again, this has had a really strong start and again has worked well for unisex. So the sales on this have been pretty much 50-50 split. Again, as Lucy said, it's really driven the sell-through on our lifestyle product, these boots. So this is just our take on that classic Chelsea. Again, you can see that toe-down detail, which I know some were kind of not sure about, but we've seen that this is really resonating with the customer. So we have the light tan on the gum here, and Caroline is holding the cinnamon. So really beautiful colour play for autumn that merchandises really well, and we will carry over the black that you can see on screen. Now, I'm guessing like me, you're probably all a bit hot and bothered now so about that amazing boot collection. So we are going to take some time to breathe. We've got a wonderful 15 minutes with our guest, Alex Sesto, who's going to come and do some beautiful breath and movement work for us. So let's regulate our nervous system, and I'll hand over to Alex.
Hello, everybody. We're just getting some music lined up. That royalty-free one. Okay. So I've been lucky enough to meet a few of you already at a wonderful retreat that we held at Dunford House. Did lots of breathing, lots of moving. So this part really is about getting back into the body. You know, there's a lot of sitting, a lot of listening, and it's nice to interrupt that to connect back into the body again. So we're going to just take some time to do that. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start seated in here. And you know, I'm aware that we're pretty packed in here, so just be aware of the people next to you. And while you're sitting here, just start to become aware of your posture. Start to connect to the spine, sit up nice and tall in your seat. Imagine there's a piece of string pulling your head up towards the ceiling, lengthening the spine. If you're leaning against the back of the chair now, just start to come away from that so that you're fully supporting yourself without leaning against the chair. Now from here, you're going to take a nice twist of the neck. So without tilting the head at all, you're going to twist all the way over one shoulder, connecting to the tissue of the neck here in the cervical spine, and then twist all the way to the other side. And again, all the way back over and across. And once again, back across. Now let's move into some tilts. So now tilts, I should be seeing all of your faces directly facing me. You're going to pull the ear down to the shoulder, and up and over to the other side. Start to notice if one side feels like there's more tension than the other. And make sure there's no twist in your tilt. Facing forwards. Now from here, let's move into some full articulation, so going round. Now as you're doing this, let's see if we can connect the breathing to the movement. So as you're looking up, as you're looking down, exhaling through the nose. Let's move same direction. 30 seconds in here. Inhaling as you look up, exhaling as you look down through the nose. Let's change direction now. Opposite direction, same thing. Inhaling as you look up. Exhaling as you roll down. Maybe slow it down slightly from here. Now Another 10 seconds or so. 3, 2, 1. Just come back into the center. Just notice now the sensations that you've cultivated from activating the tissue of the neck in that way. So next now we're going to start to get into the shoulders. So now I'm going to ask you to put your hands out like this. So palms are level with the shoulders. Try not to elevate the shoulders at all. Relax the shoulders in here. Relax the traps. Try not to hit the person in front of you. And I'm going to do this with one arm because if I do it with two. Okay, so in here now we're going to pull the elbows back. Both elbows at the same time. That's it. Try to avoid the person next to you. When you're doing this, really squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you and then drive forwards. And now you're going to drive into a protracted position. Again, try not to elevate and pinch the shoulders up. Try to keep the shoulders relatively depressed. And again, squeeze into here, both shoulder blades. Imagine you're squeezing a pencil in between your scapula and then forwards again. So all the way forwards. When we're forwards, we're protracting the shoulders. And again, squeeze. Now as you come into that position, arch as well. Arch back into it. Connect to the muscles down through the spine. And then drive forwards and come into a little bit of flexion. Pull the elbows back again. Move in between these two ranges. We're going to go for 30 seconds. And just move between those two ranges. Driving the elbows back. Arching. Driving the arms forwards into protraction. Tucking the head. Nice and slow. Rounding the shoulders. Coming into a little bit of an arch at the back. Both arms at the same time here. That's it. It's tight in there. Well done. Another 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and rest. Nice. Okay, now everybody, if I can ask you all to stand up where you are. Hopefully you can all see me. Now from here, you're going to hold on to each elbow. And again, hard for me to do with the mic in my hands, but from here now you're going to tuck the chin and you're going to curl down, vertebrae by vertebrae, down into this hinged position. Try to avoid the chair in front of you and see if you can come into a forward fold and hold down at the bottom there. So just try to hang nice and heavy. Allow gravity to do its job, pulling you down. And then slowly start to peel up, keeping the chin tucked until the last minute. And again, tucking the chin, curling down. Once you get to the bottom here, just hold, just hang. Allow gravity to pull you down. Feel the stretch through the hamstrings. Feel the release of tension around the skull as you allow the neck to relax. And again, folding forwards. So last one, let's go all the way down, all the way back up. So feel the hamstrings, feel the spine. Nice. Okay, now from here, we're going to take our arms up. And here we can interlace the hands. If you want to, like this. Okay, as we're reaching up here, let's reach up a little bit extra, as tall as you can. And then from here, now come up onto your tiptoes. And balance. While you're on your tiptoes, squeeze the glutes, reach up nice and high. Make sure you're contracting every muscle. Your arms should be fully locked out here, fully reaching. I can see some bent elbows here. That's it, nice. Hold for another 5, 4. Squeeze everything. 3, 2, 1. And then relax. Nice. Okay, now come to a seated position. A little bit of blood flow there. Now we're going to breathe a little bit now. So for this breath, we're going to do a 3-part breath. So it's going to be a double inhale and then an exhale. The inhale is going to be through the nose. The idea is that we want to fill the belly, then fill the rib cage, and then let go. So it's going to look a little bit like this. Okay, brilliant. You get the idea. Okay, we're going to go for 3 minutes, and then we're going to do a breath hold. And we're going to do 3 rounds. Okay, are we ready? We're going to breathe together here. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So Good, keep that tempo going. Don't feel the need to stay at the same pace as everyone. Go at your own tempo here. Fill the lungs. Breathe into the belly first, then the rib cage, then let go. Keep it going through the nose and let it go through the mouth. If you want to, you can put your hands on your belly to feel the diaphragm working in there before the rib cage. Good, keep that work going, keep that effort going. Keep breathing. Fully present with the breath. Keep working, guys. You're about halfway there. Stay with the breath. About 1 minute to go now. Keep going. On your next breath, fully inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs, hold at the top. Every single inch of space, holding. Now as you're holding, relax the face, relax the tension around the mouth, forehead. Melt into the breath hole. Relax into that hole. Shortly, we're going to exhale together with a nice sigh. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful stuff. Let's go in for round 2 now. So we know the drill. Let's keep that intensity going. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Fill the lungs, fill the belly, and let it go. Safe to breathe, safe to let go. Keep going. If the intensity is feeling a lot, you can slow it down, but keep breathing. Keep that 3-part breath going. 1 minute to go. Beautiful work, guys. Keep it going. Another 20 seconds. So next one, fully inhale, hold the breath at the top, even deeper this time, every single inch of space, holding, pausing there. Now fully exhale, expel all of the air and hold at the bottom. So you're going to hold on the exhale now, let the air out in 3, 2, 1. Holding at the bottom. No need to breathe. Stillness. As you're holding now, just start to connect to the gratitude for being in the amazing bodies that we all inhabit, for being part of something truly special, not just in this day, but in this life, doing the work that you're doing to better people's health, deepen people's connection. If there's anything that is not allowing you to be fully present right here, right now, you can let it go. So we're going to inhale again in 3, 2, 1. Fully inhale, hold at the top. Hold, 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 fold. Get as much air in as we can and holding in here. Now, while we're holding here, bring your awareness to either a person or a situation that you do feel a deep sense of gratitude for. It might be a child, it might be a partner, it might be a friend, it might be a colleague, it might be anybody. But think about that person, see their face, see their smile. Think about the joy that they've brought to your life. See them smiling back at you. And as we exhale now, we're going to marinate in that gratitude for the rest of the day. Beautiful energy. 3, 2, 1, let's exhale. And now we're just going to come back to a nice regulating state of breath. So it's going to be very simple. Nasal breathing. It's about 5 count in, a 5 count out for a couple of minutes. Just simply 1, 2, 3, 4. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. Continue at that nice, slow tempo. Gently moving between inhale to exhale, exhale to inhale. Noticing the sensations, the state within the body after a very small, cramped bit of movement and some nice connection to breath. We'll take another 30 seconds of this slow, regulating breath. And when you're ready, you can come back into the space, open your eyes if you've had them shut. Wriggle the shoulders, move a little bit more again if you need to. Hopefully you've noticed a different state within yourselves now and you're ready to go back to active listening again throughout the rest of the day. But thank you for your participation. You're all awesome. I look forward to connecting with you more.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Alex. That was a really beautiful moment, just to sort of, take a moment to reconnect. So most of you will know me. I'm Ollie. I lead the outdoor brand here at Vivobarefoot. A lot of you will also be familiar with ESC, the Ecological Survival Collection, that I'm going to talk about a little bit today. So this is really our mission to create footwear to work in harmony with the natural world in the world's 5 biomes. So these areas of geographic contrast that are dictated by flora, fauna, and climate. Now, our mission is really about sort of thriving in these wild places with this product. It's not about the survival narrative that prevails in a lot of the outdoor industry. And this is really our sort of call to the rest of the industry, in much the same way that Alex has just showed us that it's very easy for us to take for granted something that is so fundamental to us, like breathing, yet we've been doing it wrong all this time. And that's very much the sort of what we're trying to rewrite the narrative of with the Ecological Survival Collection. It is not about man over nature. It's the only way to truly thrive in these environments is to reconnect with nature, just like we just did with our breath now. Now, one of the environments, one of these biomes is the tundra, and this is really sort of, it's the frozen lands of the world. These are tough environments to survive in, let alone thrive. There's a lot of challenges in these spaces. Some of them are listed here. We all know what it's like when the sort of temperature drops a fair bit, but in these harsh landscapes, these things are all sort of really magnified. Now, creating a product for these landscapes is no mean feat, and this is something that we really sort of take seriously as Vivobarefoot, especially within the ecological survival lens. And really, it's important to understand that this is a tough landscape that not many people are going to venture into. But when you put all the R&D into a product like this to create something that's pinnacle for exploration in extreme climates, you can be sure as hell that we've got your back if you're wearing a pair of trackers on your dog walk. So there's a niche opportunity with some of the product that we put out under ESC, but there is a exponential opportunity for the cascade effect of the technology and the learnings that we take from these spaces that has an impact from everything that we do across the rest of the outdoor collection and beyond, as well as I say, giving reassurance to our community that we are putting the miles in order to give you the best products possible. Thankfully, you don't need to take yourself into the wilderness necessarily, because some of our team have done. Jenny and Lee from the product team went on an amazing expedition into the wilderness, frozen wilderness near Ontario in Canada just earlier this year to really sort of put this product to the test. So I've got a little moment to check that out in a moment. But as you say, these are harsh environments. You would expect that the people who make the best footwear for these environments might be these guys, the military. They spend millions on R&D to make the best product possible to survive, to conquer these wild spaces. Yet, after all that research, the best that they could come up with was this. And this is the Canadian military's vapor barrier boot. Now, the name itself is a barrier. It's a barrier between you and the natural world. It sort of doesn't regulate. It doesn't allow you to connect. It really sort of actively disconnects you from the environment that you're actually there to explore. So, counter to conventional wisdom, it's actually this footwear. It's the Nuntukas of the Sami people and the Mukluks of the native peoples of North America and Greenland, who actually make the best product using local materials. These are thin, wide, flexible, that might sound familiar, but they are warmer. The warmth to rate ratio and the comfort of these products surpasses anything else that the military have produced or anyone else in the industry as well. And this is really about that sort of narrative of decolonializing the outdoor that is so prevalent. It's not about sticking a flag in it just because it's there, which are the sort of famous words of George Mallory about why he wanted to climb Everest. It's not good enough anymore. We need to reconnect with these spaces and step with purpose and explore with the consciousness. So this is really the narrative behind ESC. And it's bringing together that harmony of traditional ecological knowledge from the indigenous peoples who have thrived in these spaces for millennia, and bringing that together with a contemporary vision and the opportunity that modern innovation affords us. So this is a really unique place in the market, and it's undoubtedly our competitive advantage, not only of ESC, but as Vivo Outdoor as a whole. No one else talks about this, let alone puts the hours and years into developing some of the product to really sort of thrive in these places. And this is really the sort of essence of ESC. And as I say, this isn't just sort of me talking on a stage, and that's not me, although a few people have thought it has been. But this is Andrew from our Canadian distributor, who I think might be here today, I'm not sure. But this was the expedition that Lee and Jenny were on. So, cool. So I will be quiet for 2.5 minutes, and once we've got the audio on lock, let you enjoy the frozen wilderness from the comfort of your cozy seat. There is no sound. Tech support. Okay. Hey.
My name's Kylan. I run a company called Lure of the North with my husband Dave. We run guided experiences in the wilderness. We make our own traditional gear based on blending modern and traditional skills because that is what works in this environment. I think that the First Nations people were so good at developing the type of footwear and clothing because it was necessary. They didn't have a disposable society where if something breaks, you just, throw it out and make a new one.
Our motivation for ESC is to understand what it takes to build a product that will survive in the most extreme environments in the world. And by doing that, we provide the opportunity for people to go to these amazing places and still do it from the most connected position in a barefoot product, but also it will inform everything else we do in Vivo.
I think the main thing with being a wilderness skills instructor is the desire to go back to first principles. With Vivo, I'm sort of an external advisor. It's my job to basically try and advise on the best features and then to pressure test it in the given environment.
If we actually want to challenge status quo and we want to change things, we have to create space to think. It's sometimes good to have all these comforts stripped away from you.
So there's a lot of words on this slide. I'm not going to talk through it, but that's really the sort of narrative with this, and we wanted to focus on with the Tundra is really looking deep into that R&D story and the effort that goes into producing this product, rather than just sort of the narrative of man over nature and sort of really debunking what goes on out there. So when it comes to how we bring this to life, this isn't just about a sort of beautiful film and an expedition. But this is about education, so Vivo Health, and big props to Nick and to Rosie who've been leading the charge on this. But we are creating survival courses or thrival courses, I should say, for each of the world's 5 biomes. We've already produced forest. We're going to be filming jungle in January, and the rest of the biomes will follow shortly after. So really having that educational piece on there. As well as expeditions, we're going to be working with tour operators like Lure of the North, who were introduced in that film and led the expedition that the team went on earlier this year, to allow people to really experience these places firsthand and to connect with that story and that inner narrative. And then community. I mentioned earlier just the importance of reframing how we talk and connect with the outdoors and explore. It isn't just sort of doing it because it's there, it's about doing it with purpose and being able to spread that word to more people. So bringing on this sort of consciously connected explorer network as part of our ambassador and our community program is going to be an important part of building the Ecological Survival Collection and yeah, making sure the narrative goes far and wide. And some product. The Spiteri.
Hello everybody, I'm Lee. You've probably all seen me before talking about ESC product in the past, and I'm back again. So it was quite emotional watching that video. I've seen the long cut a little while ago, but it was really cool to see it again. It really does hit home why we're doing what we're doing here, and we're not just making interesting looking boots for the sake of it. They do really have a reason to exist and a rationale behind them. So Dave and Kai, as you saw on the video, who run Law of the North, they mentioned in the video that they make most of their own products. So they live in Ontario. They take multiple groups of people on tours every year. They know what works. They don't suffer fools. They don't buy into marketing ploys or any of this sort of stuff. So a lot of the kit they have to produce themselves. The toboggans you saw, they build parts of the toboggans. These traditional moccasins, they sell kits and training courses to their customers to try and get them to learn a little bit more and immerse themselves in the process. So we actually made these at the end of our trip. We went on this wonderful 5-day expedition across this frozen tundra landscape. And when we got back, Jenny and I, along with Ben and who's our kind of survival guide, we made these wonderful moccasins, right? So this design has been tried and tested and evolved for hundreds, if not thousands of years, using materials that are local and at hand and that work with the feet. So this is super, super simple construction. It's got a leather moccasin construction on the bottom, and it has a nice canvas upper. It's super lightweight, it's super flexible, it works with the feet straight away, and this is kind of was our kind of starting base for our project here. So what we've produced here is based on all of those elements. What we have is a very, very lightweight, super, super flexible, super deconstructed piece of footwear. So when we started this project, we had to make a conscious choice on where we were going to position this shoe. So we had a choice of hanging around the kind of -15 to 0 degree temperature range, which, if we were looking at this project from a commercial perspective, would probably be where you choose to go. People going skiing, snowboarding, doing kind of cold, snow-based resort treats. So these sorts of things would apply more to that temperature range. But given the kind of goal and the notion of the ESC project, we decided to go as true to deep cold as possible. So this shoe has been designed to thrive from around -15, -20 and below, where water is no longer in its liquid state, it's in its frozen state. So you don't have to necessarily worry too much about waterproofing. So your kind of general thoughts when you would be designing a boot for cold weather is, oh no, you need to put a waterproof membrane in it to keep the cold out. All of those sorts of traditional ways of thinking, or modern ways of thinking, sorry, kind of come back to really hurt you when you go and spend any longer extended periods of time in these conditions, because the whole idea, the same idea with the traditional moccasin, is that they are naturally breathable. So our shoe here has a extremely thick, it's around 20 millimeters thick, 100% wool felt liner inside. This inner bootie can be removed, adjusted for fit, but it's completely breathable. You can blow through this with very little effort, which are where a lot of breathable membranes in the market, they just don't work like that. So the whole idea here was that this inner bootie has a ton of lofting with a beautiful natural material, super simple construction to let to trap as much air and thermal capacity within the lofting of the material itself, but also allow your feet to breathe and your perspiration, your sweat to leave and transpire through the boot naturally. The idea being that the warmer climate inside the boot, the moisture travels its way out to the boot, as it then reaches this external, really deconstructed shell, which is a natural cotton canvas, it gets to that final layer, freezes on the outside, and then that's the kind of internal process of protecting you from the deep cold. All you do at the end of the day, just bang your feet off, and the ice from yourself falls off, and you're moving around with lovely warm toasty toes. Another benefit of having an extremely flexible boot like this, as we know in the world of barefoot, is that your feet are allowed to move. There's nothing worse than wearing a really stiff winter boot, whether you're snowboarding, skiing, or just knocking about in a pair of really expensive waterproof boots. Your toes get a little bit numb because you're restricting that movement. These boots are extremely flexible from the ground up, so your feet are generating their own heat the whole time you're wearing them, and they're an absolute pleasure to wear. You can imagine spending any time with your foot in this toasty little wool felt boot is very, very nice. The upper, as I described, is extremely deconstructed, extremely packable. There's basically nothing to it. The sole is the existing ESC Tracker Forest sole that we have within the collection. So we know the tread works. It's tried and tested. When we travel to Canada, we tried a variety of different rubber compounds from Michelin, and we've identified the best grip for us on ice and snow terrain. So the sole's wonderful. On the upper, we have this canvas, cotton canvas, kind of deconstructed layer, as I mentioned before, with a leather wrapper over the toe, this kind of leather rand. We were flirting with the idea of doing a rubber rand here, which may be the normal kind of thinking process for it to increase its durability, but actually the leather itself gives a level of durability that we need, but also continues to allow the shoe to breathe, letting your toes breathe naturally to get that perspiration out of the shoe. All of the components of the boot are kind of designed in the simplest way possible to mean that repairability is really easy. The sole's stitched on, the overlays are minimal, all stitched on with double stitching. The components are these, I believe these are nylon hardware speed lacing for really quick lacing up, but they're easily repairable. The whole boot is designed to be as simple and as repairable as possible, which could make sense if we're leasing these or renting them through traditional kind of rental platforms or companies in these areas where you might sell the shoe. So yeah, it's as simple as we can possibly get it, inspired by traditional manufacturing, traditional techniques, and it really did last extremely well on our expedition. We tested a combination of designs, whether it be different closure mechanisms, different combinations of materials, different thicknesses. We tried a whole bunch of different stuff, and I think what we have now is a really refined, simple version of what we're trying to sell, or trying to sell to the world. But I must reiterate that the focus of this shoe is deep cold, below -15 to -20 degrees. It's for long periods of time, long exposure in the cold. It's not necessarily for getting in and getting out like you might do with a kind of mountainous ascent or something. It's really to be able to live and thrive in these environments, as Dave and Kai can vouch for the traditional moccasins that they make. So that is the ESC Tundra, and yeah, we're very proud of it.
We've lost presentation mode on our laptop, so if anyone's got any notes to presenting, I hope you know it. And we're, going to be a surprise what's up next. Right, the challenge. Most of this we've been over. I think it's probably worthwhile from a more commercial perspective and how we actually bring this product to market to just address everything that's been discussed and obviously how we want to work with a number of people in the room to be able to execute this correctly. The biome offering, now what we've seen from Lee and from Ollie and in the videos, it is a true performer. We generally believe that. This deep winter version will certainly be the first. There might be a more commercial version in the future, but ultimately this is the best offering that we can possibly do with this product. And what we mentioned before was that halo effect. So if we can get the technology in this sort of boot, it will trickle down into further both ESC and outdoor products that we'll see. Up to 30 degrees, -30 degrees, I hope that's right, yep. Easy on and off, the iScript, all of these features hopefully make it far more commercial to the people that are actually going to be using it. Now, in terms of distribution, this is probably the most important thing for us to address here, is we appreciate that this isn't going to be used by everybody. Gary, I'm going to call you out that you're probably not going to use it in Australia, but you know, you might do. So the strategy with how we actually launch this is where it's a call to action really. So we're asking people in the room for their support. Now, a number of you we identified as key potential partners for this received the SMS version or will do, but you also received an email from Ollie and I that was kind of asking if you can identify key partners within your regions to do so. Now, Lure of the North, obviously within Canada, but we know that there's both expedition partners, professionals accredited to this, but also people that lead trips, for example, or people that are just working in this environment in general, and we don't know all of those. So ultimately, we're looking for support in where these people are and how we can lean on you to help support them and make the product ultimately successful in your market. ESC as a range makes up about 20% of our outdoor product in terms of both revenue and volume. So what we're seeing is if we have 20% at the top of the pyramid, it filters down into the rest of the range is where you get your trackers, but we're taking that technology and feeding it through. Appreciate that when we look at the other ESC versions, so the Forest in Tracker and Magna version, and the Jungle, which was presented 2 conferences ago, we appreciate that 20% of the collection is probably not going to be within the Tundra boot, but still it has its place within that overall collection. RRPs is a discussion that we've been having. We've been having it offline with quite a few partners of where we position this, so it would be really great to get some feedback later on over the next 2 days or so to understand from people where they think this would be reasonably positioned. And then quite a nice important fact is we don't have any minimum order quantities on this. So this is really, let's get it in the right places with the right people that are going to do the best possible job to get this boot on the people that are really going to use it. So there is a huge opportunity here. Appreciate again, as I said, it's not going to be for everybody, but ultimately a few pairs in the right places is hopefully going to have a huge influence on what we can do here. That's me. Oh, the only other thing to mention was around customer. Again, this thread running through everything. We've spoken loosely before, and I think we presented at last conference, this active outsider bubble. Now, they're probably also the halo customer that we see within our outdoor collection as well. So these are people who are using the outdoors as their playground. They're not just using it because they like to go for a walk, or whether it's walking the dog or going for a hike. These are the people who are really using the outdoor to their advantage, for whether it's for exercise, exploration, and they're kind of going to be our key target demographic for this particular product. We know what they're currently wearing at the moment. We broadly know which areas they're located in and sort of how to target them. So it's going to be really important for the launch and success of the Tundra. But yeah, as I said, come and find us later. We want to have these kind of conversations, keep them going, and make sure that when we bring this product to market for everybody, that it's in the right places and is achieving the most success. We're now going to talk about the new Tracker franchise.
Hello everybody, my name's Paulette. I head up the PLM and design team within the Footwear Circle. I am going to present to you the outdoor collection today for the last time because James is going to come and do it next time round. So thank you, James, for taking over. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you about the Tracker franchise today, which is a really great new look on our classic and iconic profile, which is the Tracker FG. It's been in the collection for some time. We have worshipped it, we've loved it. Our customer has loved it, and it continues to be one of the best sellers within the collection. But we know that it has seen some decline. We also know that it is, fairly dated in its appearance. And whilst we don't want to alienate that existing customer that loves this boot, we also want to broaden our opportunity and bring a new customer, a broader base of customers into the brand with a more contemporary look on a classic, iconic profile of Vivo. So the Tracker franchise has been, here we go. We have actually messed up the slides. Do you want to go? And then I'll come back. Sorry, you go.
No, all good. Really just following on from what Paulette said there, the Tracker's been in the range for a number of years now. It's in its second or almost third iteration. Online, we've sold nearly 80,000 pairs. That's just through our own direct-to-consumer e-commerce. So incredibly successful product. That doesn't include the winterized version. That is purely just Tracker FG. It peaked in 21-22. So that was when we had our most successful launch event. I think that was the launch of the first Tracker 2. But since then, we've seen a slight drop-off. So 27% last year into overall sales, which was another reason why it kind of sparked this conversation about it's kind of time for a change. We also saw that the winterized version, which is available at the moment, general affinity from customers tend to prefer that style. It's kind of reimagined, it's more kind of iconic to Vivo, it's less copyable, let's say, at the moment. There are other products on the market that look like the current Tracker. This one completely looks different to what's available and follows that same Vivo DNA that we see running through the line. In terms of overall design, sorry if you're going to say this, improved V-matrix score, which is super important for us. But also the challenge that we're going to have is the affinity with the product. So the existing Tracker, which Paulette held up, has that overall brand awareness. People know it as a Vivo shoe at the moment. So we don't want to lose that whilst we want to move things into kind of maintain what we've got, but move it into a new direction. So the opportunity that we feel like we've got here is, at the moment, the Tracker franchise, so that does include the snow, makes up 13% of our total sales as a business, so vivo.com, and 18% in revenue. Obviously, that high price point means it is incredibly successful for us, so we want to drive that forward. We know that we can create strong contribution, good V-matrix scoring from it, so how can we adapt it further and broaden the Tracker franchise? So not just be reliant on the one style, but deepen that, as we saw last conference, I think, with women's wear. So how can we build that out? The other thing to mention, as a bit of a theme running through, again, this conference, is the surge in female participation. So we feel like the winterized version that we brought out was really successful for women. So much so that it wasn't actually in female version to start with. We then reintroduced it the next season in men's and women's styles because women really wanted it as well. And we feel like it could it could help support the Tracker growth by tapping into that female market. And we know that's going to, later on, barefoot growth in female outdoor, macro trends suggest that it's going to be worth sort of over 300 million in the next couple of years or so. Key partners, so you in the room and how we launch this is a huge opportunity. We know it's an incredibly successful shoe across most markets and tends to be the one that people rely on to buy for outdoor pursuits. And then really doubling down in the outdoor category. So outdoor, at the moment, makes up about 30% of the business. We want to grow that to at least and maintain a steady 35% of total Vivo. So it's becoming increasingly important to us. And yeah, that's kind of it from me. We'll dive into the new products and how we see that overall Tracker franchise growing.
Thank you. So I'm back again. So we've seen a number of challenges with the existing Tracker. It was actually, again, pretty low on our V-matrix scoring. So one of the key things that I've been standing up here and talking to you about over the last few conferences is continuous improvement, right? So taking classic, iconic profiles that have been in the line for some time, really focusing on all the internal details, all the materials, the construction, to make sure that we're actually improving our V-matrix scoring and we are improving the overall performance of the boot at the same time. So the sustainability piece has been really key for us to improve this boot. As I said as well, we want to bring a new customer into the brand. We know that this is a really important franchise for us, but it can speak to a wider customer base. So these are some of the things that we wanted to address. We also know that the outsole of the existing Tracker FG, we could improve. We have had feedback that it did cause some slip. We've had feedback that the traction wasn't performing to the highest level that it could. And we really wanted to take the opportunity to update the outsole, make it perform better, and of course, improve all of the additional elements like I talked about, the sustainability, and just give a more contemporary boot to the marketplace. So there's a lot of things that this boot can do and a lot of things that we know we can improve on, and that's what we've been focusing on with the new Tracker AT. So it's the Tracker AT because it's all-terrain. We wanted to bring an all-terrain outsole to the collection because we have seen the feedback and understood from our customer that this is an opportunity for us to create something that covers a wide variety of ground. We want to create a boot that can take you from an urban environment through to the trails, and this is our biggest opportunity, and something that the firm ground maybe wasn't quite enabling us to do. So that's a really important piece of the Tracker franchise, the new Tracker franchise. So an all-terrain sole. What we also wanted to do was create a natural hiker, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a second. We wanted to create something more recyclable, more durable, more flexible, and have a premium look and feel. So what we did was we didn't just reintroduce, replace the boot with one style. We actually looked at a comprehensive view on what that looks like from top to bottom. So we've got the Tracker Mock sitting at the top of the pyramid, premium price point, premium executions, and we'll go through that a bit later, but there's a bespoke marketing campaign that we'll launch with the Tracker Mock to really give it a specific customer look and feel in the marketplace. Then we'll launch the Tracker Leather AT and the Tracker Textile AT sitting slightly below that in terms of price point. These are our most commercial, biggest opportunity profiles within the collection. This is really where we see the most amount of volume coming from this franchise. And then eagerly awaited is a low version. So we haven't had a waterproof leather low, believe it or not, in the collection until now. So it made perfect sense for us to put it within the Tracker franchise, so you really get a holistic view of what this product can do. So premium, leather, textile, so animal-free version, and a low version as well. So complete holistic profiles available within the Tracker franchise. So talking about our journey to natural, so as you know, I've talked about it in the last conference as well, inspired by nature, made with nature, to be returned to nature. This is a really important part of our values, and something that we need to make sure that all of our product sits within. So one of the key things about waterproof outdoor boots is that they're leather and they have a plastic bag inside. That plastic bag, that membrane that covers the whole internal boot, is what enables us to say this is fully waterproof to the customer. However, it's counterintuitive because it's a leather profile with a plastic internal membrane. That means that we can't return that product back to nature. It's fighting with nature. So we can use the best leathers, we can really focus on all of our internal components to make sure that they're sustainable. But if we put a plastic bag inside, we can't do anything with it for its end-of-life solution. So that's been a really important part of how we bring a new Tracker waterproof boot into the collection as we go into our future seasons. There's been a lot of testing around this to see how far we can push the waterproof testing without using a plastic bag. And actually, we've taken inspiration from this boot, which is the Tracker Forest ESC. It doesn't have a membrane in it, but actually we get a lot of really great feedback that this product performs well in wet conditions. And some of you may have it and you've experienced that as well. It doesn't have the membrane inside, but what it doesn't do, it doesn't pass waterproof testing from a lab perspective because of some of the constructional details that mean that it can let water in. So we've got boots in the collection that are already saying, I'm a natural hiker, I can perform. But we can take learnings from how we've constructed this and bring it into our new Tracker to make it even more fit for purpose. And again, not using that plastic membrane. So you'll see the Tracker leather in a non-membrane construction for autumn 24, but we will call it waterproof. And I can tell you that it passes industry standard waterproof testing already, but we are continuing to test it. And we're going higher and higher and higher in terms of the level of waterproof that we are putting this boot under. So we'll continue to talk to you about that as we move forward, but just know that it is our mission to make sure that we're bringing a truly natural waterproof hiker into the collection for autumn 24. Ali?
just a laser pointer. So really with the tracker, as Paulette said, this is really about sort of redefining some of the narrative of the outdoors, similar to what I talked about with ESC collection. But this is one of our best-selling products, our best-known products, something that really asserted and established Vivo's credentials in the outdoor space. So rebooting this franchise is quite a tall order, but I think the team have done amazing jobs to achieve this. The narrative that we're going to be supporting this through from a marketing perspective, if anyone saw the email that went out on the weekend, it was very much about debunking the myths behind outdoor product. And this is really from what Paulette talked about, the perceived necessity of a claggy waterproof bag in your boot, to ankle support, to rugged, over-designed product that is really disconnecting you from the very environments that you're seeking to connect with by being in these spaces. So it's really about sort of rewriting that narrative within the outdoor space. With this, it's got a more contemporary design direction. The original Tracker FG has been a staple of the collection for quite some time now. It's a beautiful product for the brown boot brigade, but it's probably a little bit tired now, and it's time to bring that into a more modern light with its aesthetic. So something that we've tried to achieve with the campaign that we've built so far is really looking at that intersection of the ancient principles of barefoot wisdom, but looking at a contemporary design direction in there as well. So I'm going to play a little video for you in a moment that feels very different for Vivo, but hopefully encapsulates that narrative. And the third element of this is actually the Tracker franchise. If you look at franchises as families and the opportunity and the importance of wild families, we see a great opportunity with bringing along that sort of wild families narrative, incorporating kids as we introduce the Tracker for juniors as well. I'm going to leave Laura to talk about that a little bit later on. So I will, enjoy this little video.
My name's Lee. I'm the performance and innovation designer at Vivobarefoot.
My name is Valentin. I'm an outdoor footwear designer at Vivobarefoot.
And we've been working on the new Tracker Textile AT. AT stands for all-terrain.
For an all-terrain sole, these specific environments are diverse.
So that sole was an answer to this, and it's been designed kind of from the ground up, trying to find a nicer balance of both of those worlds as we possibly can. And some of the design details were taken and inspired from extreme deep cold military boots and exploration boot and kind of expedition boots. Aesthetics wise, we just tried to strip everything back. We chose this key feature of the Ice Day Islands combined with this really clean mudguard bumper line, and they were the kind of two elements we wanted to boil this design down to. The shoes are wide from a toe down to allow your feet to spread as they naturally would. The base thickness is essentially a thin skin of rubber, and we only add extra rubber where we need it for grip.
We will add lugs only where needed in key areas, and these areas are inspired by the footprint. Each individual lug will provide a little pocket and grip.
So all of our shoes are super flexible, so as you can see, this is really, really simple and easy to roll this shoe up, and this allows your feet to move as kind of nature intended, with as much freedom as possible. There's nothing worse than wearing a shoe that fights your feet as you're trying to walk. Lots of traditional boots, you are indeed fighting a stiff sole or overly built up ankle, whereas these move like you. This boot will take you from the city to the outdoor. So the upper textile is 100% recycled. Durability, repairability, longevity, it ticks a lot of boxes, and it looks lovely. It is genuinely designed for function, and outdoor function first and foremost. Our all year, all round kind of outdoor beast.
So the Tracker, as Lee so eloquently talked about in that video, thank you Lee, that was so nice. So the Tracker leather is our first profile within the Tracker franchise to talk about. So I think we have seen really good success this year with the Tracker Winter that's performing right now. We have taken direct inspiration, design lines from the Tracker Winter. This is one of our best sellers at the moment. The triple black is top of the bestseller chart. But what we wanted to do here was really focus on our regeneration credentials with improving this boot. So we've looked at all of the internals, we've looked at the whole construction, and we've improved it. to come with the new Tracker all-terrain. What we've also done here is, of course, added the all-terrain outsole, which again differentiates it from where we've been with the Tracker Winter, but just improves it and makes it better. So you'll see the leather execution, again using that oily nubuck that we've seen on the classic Tracker of the past, so maintaining that look and feel that the customer is used to. Of course, Lee talked about as well the increased level of flexibility, so it is incredibly flexible and easy to pack away. But what we've also done as well is added the logo detail to the heel, which you've seen on some other really iconic profiles within the collection. And that thin layer of rubber that Lee mentioned in the film as well, which gives you that extra level of durability and protection on the trails. So an all-round great new reinterpretation of our classic icon. We're really pleased with how this has turned out. So the Tracker leather will come in 2 colorways. So you'll see that in the bracken and then a full obsidian colorway as well. So then what we also have to sit next to the high, of course, is the low version. So we really wanted to create a more simplistic design here for the low. So you'll see some embossed detailing, so really minimal in terms of layers or overlays, just keeping it really minimal in design language. What you'll also see is the same tongue detail, so the same shaping coming through that you'll see on the mid, and that iconic Primus toe down as well coming through across all of the profiles. So here we'll make sure that that rubber rand is also a continuous red thread that goes through the whole collection, again offering you that extra level of protection and durability on the trails. You've got the binding to the heel, and again that heel tab as well for easy on, easy off construction. So really nice kind of antique hardware and a fleck lace as well to give it that real outdoor look and feel. So again, the leather low is without a plastic bag at the moment, it's without the membrane, and testing well to make sure that we can actually say this boot is waterproof from a market perspective. So you'll get 2 colorways here on the Tracker leather low, which is the bracken, and Lee is, holding 3 colorways, holding the obsidian and the dark olive. Is that the women's sample? So I think what's really great to note here as well is these boots have all been sampled in women's sizing, and actually they look really, really strong in a women's offer as well. So we really want to make sure that this is a full unisex proposition. Yeah. Thank you. So here, moving into the 3rd profile within the Tracker franchise is the Tracker Textile all-terrain. So again, we have seen a lot of requests and feedback for non-leather hiking product within the collection. So we've used 100% recycled polyester for the upper, this ripstop material, which is really fitting for this terrain. It is a water wicking nylon, of course, and again, this will have the membrane inside. So it's a poly execution with a polyester bag, which means it has an end-of-life solution, and it clearly differentiates from being a natural hiker. So this is your poly hiker, and your leather one is your natural. So we've really tried to make sure that both boots are really adhering to our values from that perspective. So all of the same iconic design lines on the Tracker Textile, using the thin layer of rubber through the mudguard. All of these boots have thermal footbeds as well to keep your feet warm on a multiple level of terrain. So we've got 3 colours. We've got the grey, the obsidian, and then this arabesque colour. This is a boot where we can introduce colour, we can be a little bit bolder, and that's what you will see us doing on this boot in particular. We've been really safe in terms of the colours that we've offered within the outdoor collection, and this is really where we can kind of have a little bit more play and give something different to the customer as well. So the Tracker Textile will be in 3 colourways, and back to you, Ollie.
Cool. So last up in the Tracker franchise, this is what was introduced by Paulette when she took everyone through the range architecture. This is really at the sort of premium end of the Tracker franchise with the introduction of the Tracker Mock. So moccasin construction, I'm not going to talk about too much right now, but funnily enough, when I first came across Vivo myself about sort of 7 years ago, I remember looking on the website and there was this term, emotional durability, and I'd not come across it before, and I just really loved that idea about the longer you own something and the more you wear something, the more it means to you and the more you just want to hold on to it. And I think that that is really quite epitomized by the Tracker Mock. This is something that's going to age beautifully. It's really wonderful taro leather, and it's just going to sort of continue to look better with age as you sort of bed into it. And with that, we've looked at exploring this narrative of craftspersonship within outdoor spaces and looking to sort of profile those who are working with natural materials in order to sort of reconnect with nature in perhaps unexpected ways. So the marketing behind it is really looking at that outdoor lifestyle consumer, someone who might want to wear these as an alternative to a pair of Red Wing 875s or something in an urban environment, but they are also very capable to sort of take you outside on the trail, being atop that all-terrain sole. So yeah, I'll just introduce you to a brief film behind one of these characters.
Trees are just quite calming and magical beings that we share the planet with, and I think for me especially, when you consider how they last about as long as us on this earth, there's a beautiful relationship that we have with them. So I think whenever I look to utilize one, it's a case of honouring it and doing the best I can with the timber that it's spent its lifetime growing.
Timber and wood has always just been part of my life. As humans, we have a connection back to trees. You know, you can look at it on a huge scale and think about where we've all come from. I thought how often I've looked up at trees and think about trying to identify them with their leaves and the way they spread their limbs, and the stories around being in woodlands. For me, there's a lot of depth there. I was always drawn to then using wood as a material. Once you've kind of signed your name on something and said that you've made it, there's something of you in it that you can't then undo. When we run our workshops and people come and join us, for them there's this whole week tied up in that one object then. That can be really meaningful to a lot of people, and I think that is then embodied in the surfboard they have at the end of it. When I started out, part of the thinking behind sustainability was, well, how on earth do you make a product that lasts a long time? If you've made something that people genuinely care about, they'll look after it, therefore it has a longer life. Feet are just as sensitive as your hands. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be utilised to feel and explore and understand the world that we find ourselves in. It's a brilliant circle in that what I'm making is something to then explore the outdoor again, like reconnect with a different space. So you take that wood, you work with it with your hands, and then you carry it back out and use your body and interact with this energy of the ocean in an awesome way. I've noticed I'm a better person if I have the ocean in my life, and it's just brings about a really lovely sense of deep joy to me. And then you turn around and you look at the environment you're in, and the cliffs and the sun and the clouds, and feeling the energy in the waves that come across the ocean that you're able to explore and work with. And yeah, I feel like I come back onto land less stressed, less busy, less in my head. For me, that's the power in the ocean. There's a guy who signed off a board years and years ago. By the sea, all my worries wash away. And I was like, I get that.
So a really nice story of sort of woodlands to workshop to waves with this chap. This is a guy called James Otter. He's worth looking up online. He's got a really good TED talk that he did about a decade ago. He was barefoot on stage while he was presenting that. This guy is a die-hard barefooter who showed me his collection of old Vivos that have been sort of in various states of disrepair, but super connected to his feet and to the natural world. Worth checking out his TED Talk. But this is really a piece of content that we'd love to serialize and build out different narratives that are sort of told by different characters. So James Otter there, you've got Nicole Cohen there, who is an incredible lumberjack. They've got a couple of million followers on TikTok and would love to engage with Nicole on a story of regenerative forestry and the work that she does, which is quite impressive. So if Nicole, you're watching this online, we're coming for you. Please don't hurt me. And also Barnaby Ash and Drew Plum, who are a couple of artisans from Sussex, who create beautiful wood-turned sculptural pieces for the home out of what most people would refer to as imperfect wood that's regeneratively sourced from Wiltshire, and just create these really beautiful vessels. Again, another characters who are doing great things with natural materials and creating beautiful objects from it. So this is really the narrative that we're going to bring Tracker Mock to market with. And yeah, the product is quite beautiful. So I'll leave Paulette to do it a bit more justice.
Yeah, I mean, I think the product kind of speaks for itself, but obviously this is the boot that sits at the top of the pyramid. It's our most pinnacle boot within the Tracker franchise. So like Ollie said, it is actually a mock construction, so standing for moccasin, which is of course inspired by indigenous shoemaking from the Native American people who used moccasin constructions to create product that was more durable and could stand the test of time in terms of wear. And we've used inspiration from that here on this boot. We have used a really beautiful pull-up leather, which means that the more you wear it, the nicer it becomes. And if you treat this product well, it will just get better with age over time and time and time. So it really is something to stand the test of time, a classic profile that we want to have in the collection for a really long time. And you know, just continue to evolve, but a really classic new boot to kind of act as the pinnacle within the Tracker franchise. Again, also sitting on the same new all-terrain sole, so really proud of that, and probably one of the first boots that I would like to wear, actually. So we also see that in the women's size here. Which, you know, looks adorable. If anyone has a size 38, please try it on. But, you know, this is really where we're trying to make sure that everything that we're creating is a truly unisex proposition. So there you go. Thank you.
I am Heather. I head up Kids, Revivo and Accessories. But today I will talk to you about the outdoor focus for kids in autumn 24. Now the good news is we've saved the best till last. And the even better news is lunch is after this. So stay sharp for the next 10 minutes and then we can all go eat and celebrate together. So the most fundamental thing that underpins everything that we do within kids is making sure we're connecting kids to nature, building resilient children that can face anything the world throws at them. And autumn 24 is no different. If anything, we're going to lean into this more than ever before. We've got great storytelling and we've got the best outdoor product yet. Now, 80% of our kids segment is the segment that we are targeting when we go into this season. They are what we would call the independent explorers or wild kids, as we've talked about them historically. The number one thing that they are looking for is product that lets them reconnect with the natural world. And when we've spoken to them, 69% of them have said the outdoor product in the kids range is what they're looking to buy. That's great, but we want that to be 100%. However, a number of challenges we need to get ahead of in order to do that. The first is the outdoor product itself. We've definitely seen that we need to elevate the range and bring the best product, the best barefoot outdoor product to market. To date, the Primus Trail FG has been our biggest outdoor style within the kids range, and it's over the past number of years definitely brought some volume, but it can be better. We've had durability challenges, we've definitely navigated some new design that we've need to look at, and that's been a big focus for us as we've looked at the Autumn 24 range. Ollie touched on this earlier, but we've got low engagement in terms of our cross-sell. Only about 10% of our total Vivobarefoot segment is buying across kids and another category. So that presents an opportunity where we can, really index more into the Vivobarefoot family. And from a purely commercial standpoint, the lifetime value, so really bringing this customer on, keeping the customer within the kids range and the wider Vivobarefoot range, builds on average an additional £100 per customer over their lifetime. So that's an added commercial bonus to bringing them on that journey. And then finally, the other challenge that we looked at when approaching the kids range is functionality and fun. We get a lot of feedback about make the colours brighter, bring more pattern into the range, but ultimately make sure that the product does what it needs to do. And that works for across every region. When we go into the autumn season, we want proper functional product that works in the cold Scandinavian climate, to the drier Australian or North America climate, and all for those kind of wet and windy days in the UK. The good news is we've got a fantastic opportunity to kind of get ahead of. First and foremost being the demand that we already see within our customer base. As I said, that Primus Trail FG has been a strong seller to date, but what we actually see is that when we look across outdoor, whether it's the Lumi, whether it's the Ultra and the Trail, it's 22% of our customer is buying that as their second purchase. We talk a lot about how do we bring the new customer on board, but once we can retain that customer, it really kind of drives the overall story for Vivo. So focusing on the best outdoor range will bring them back to make that second purchase. And then more importantly, and it's sort of a miss that we've not done this yet to date, we've just talked about the tracker, how the 75,000 pairs of just the tracker alone that we've sold in the adults franchise. This is a franchise we've not backed as a kids customer, so we're really missing that mini-me offering, and that's a huge opportunity that we can get behind to tell the Vivobarefoot family story. Secondly, if we take a step back and look at the wider outdoor and footwear environment, natural development and getting outdoors is ever more apparent into how the whole industry is talking about footwear, and we want to make sure, and we have the opportunity to be front of mind when customers are thinking, where's the kids' outdoor footwear that I want to go and put my children into? So we can definitely double down on what we do and tell the story with that in mind. And then finally, another fabulous opportunity, which you can kind of see we've touched on here with some of the imagery, is digging into the forest schools that are out there globally. We've done this a little historically. We've tested product in some forest schools. We've taken that feedback on, and you'll see it in some of the improvements of the product that we're going to show you today. But we really want to kind of really lean into those little forest school niches around the kind of global environment and make sure that once again we have the product that sets those kids up for success. What's really beautiful about kind of forest schools is how important outdoor product is, whether that's from the toes to the top of your head, and it gives us a really natural organic space for us to lean into collaborations with other B Corp brands, and we'll talk to one of them later on in the day. So, Laura will come up and give us a rundown of the campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Laura, and I do the marketing for Kids and Performance. So, as Heather said, with this campaign, we really want to help parents raise kids close to nature, basically. We want them to be in tune with the natural world, so they are fully integrated into our planet's ecosystem. Because we know it, basically nature is better for everyone, and it's also a great way to plant the seed for a family life which is happy, healthy and resilient. So in this campaign we are going to talk about the benefits of raising your kids and your family in general in nature. So we are going to have a holistic approach. Instead of focusing exclusively on just your physical health, we are going to talk about mental health and emotional health for the whole family.
And we are going to not talk only about kids, as Heather or Holly mentioned. It will be like a whole family campaign. So we'll be pushing our tracker, our new tracker. We'll be pushing the kids tracker. And we'll be talking about resilience and self-discovery. So we won't have like a step-by-step guide on how to take your kids outdoor. So that's not what we want. We want to let parents let their kids explore, basically, and test their own capabilities. So we will have educational content, but the content we will have will be very practical, like where to take your kids, basically. If you have a toddler, what is the best hiking route? Or like what is the kit you need if you've got a 2 years old? So this campaign will be inclusive, and also we want it to have a very welcoming tone. So we know sometimes it's not always easy to go outdoor, especially as a parent, you might have a bit of some worries. So we want to basically show you what is the best way to do that with our ambassador network. But I'll talk a bit more about that. So we have already reached out to a few ambassadors, including Haroon. I seen you this morning. We really want you to be in this campaign, and we also want, we've been talking to Asina Miller. So Asina Miller has been hiking with our toddler since she's a baby, basically. And she documents that on her Instagram channel and on our YouTube channel, where she has more than 60,000 followers. So she recorded a video with her daughter, Aoife, last week and sent it to us. And I just thought I'll play it to you because it's really cute. So for the launch, we will be working with our ambassador network, including Asina and hopefully Haroon. If you're watching, if you want to be part of this campaign, please reach out, because basically we want to tell many stories. We don't want to tell one story of one ambassador. I feel like for people to feel included in this campaign, we need to show what the outdoor can be, and we need to do that through a lot of storytelling. We will be also creating Vivo's original content, so including guide for parents and best practices, stuff like this. And we will be doing experiences, because it's a great thing to talk about the outdoor, but really the best way to actually do this campaign is to live it. So we will be taking people outside and just doing experiences in nature with our ambassador network. So yeah, that's it for this campaign. And then Katie will take you through the product.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie, I'm the Kids Design and PLM lead, and I'm going to talk you quickly before lunch through our two new outdoor products, the Tracker AT and the Explore AT. So as Laura and Heather introduced, we really wanted to bring the mini-me of our best-selling hiking boot Tracker into our kids collection. And so the product itself is made with the same leather, so water-resistant wild hide, and then on the kind of tongue and the collar area, which is nice and padded, to ensure a snug, nice, comfortable fit, is made from recycled textiles. On the kids and preschool version, we've got 2 straps of Velcro, which make it really nice and adjustable for getting a nice, snug fit. And then on our juniors product, we've got elastic laces, which are fixed, so no need to tie, and then another Velcro strap for adjusting, and both have the nice pull-on, heel pull on the back to make sure it's easy to pull on and easy to pull off. Both of them are going to be on our brand new Kids Outdoor Outsole, which takes all the learnings of our Kids FG sole and all the learnings of the new outdoor soles in adults and creates our best grip yet for kids outdoor products. It's actually got an additional wrap-up just on kids around the toe to help prevent scuffs and scrapes on the toes and add that extra bit of durability. And then we've got that launching in our acorn colourway with the practical black textile and then the molten lava pops to add a little bit of extra interest. And then the second outdoor product that we're going to launch brand new this season is our Explore AT. Oh, I forgot to say on the adults, the new AT outsole in kids stands for Adventure Terrain. So that's also featured on this product. This is our brand new adventure trainer, all built for like extra durability in kids. We wanted to improve on our Primus Trail FG. So this product is designed to replace that. The overlays are made in a PU for durability, and then we've also got our textile on the toe and on the tongue and the heel, which is water-resistant ripstop. We've got lovely webbing detail to add bright pop colours for the laces, and that comes with an elastic lace and a toggle, so again it's nice and tight and you can adjust the fit and make that as tight as you need. We've got our Explore AT launching in our outer space navy colourway with again the molten lava detailing, and then it's also launching in our second bright colour, which is the terracotta, which is bright enough to be vivid but also muted for our Earthchild parent. So 3 new exciting colourways and products in our kids outdoor offering, really appealing to our wild kids parents. And this afternoon I'll talk you through the rest of the kids collection, but now we're going to break for lunch. And so if we go out the doors at the back, lunch is where breakfast was, and we're going to meet back in exactly an hour.